Donald Trump declares war on Starbucks over its new holiday coffee cup.
I have one of the most successful Starbucks in Trump Tower. Maybe we should boycott Starbucks. I don't know.
This is the Starbucks at Trump Tower in Manhattan that he's talking about. Trump is upset because the Starbucks holiday cup is just plain red with the Starbucks logo. There are no drawings of snowflakes or reindeer, reference to Christmas like it has in the past. Starbucks says the design is meant to welcome customers from all backgrounds and religions, but Trump isn't buying it. Trump is blasting Starbucks just as a campaign is growing on social media against the coffee giant.
The war on Christmas off to an early start. Outrage brewing across the country.
This anti-Starbucks video posted on Facebook has over...
Simply boycotting. So when I went in and I asked for my coffee, they asked for my name, and I told them my name. What? Starbucks? I tricked you.
We asked Starbucks customers at Trump Tower what they think about the controversy.
I actually buy the Starbucks cup because of the decoration, so I kind of miss it. I love the coffee anyway, so it's not going to stop me from drinking it.
Trump attacks Starbucks, saying he doesn't like the red cup. It doesn't have enough Christmas or Merry Christmas cheer in it. And it drove me to go take a peek at the Starbucks chart to see what was going on over there. Is this company in decline? It can't help when the future president of the United States or the current elected president of the United States says that perhaps we should all boycott the company. I thought, well, goodness gracious, this might be an opportunity to go over there and short this stock for some profits. I did a little bit of a quick review of the charts, and I think you'll find it interesting what I'm going to share with you today. Is it going to be that this is a stock in decline, or is this stock currently climbing? Sometimes in Wall Street, it's a sell the rumor, buy the news, or buy the rumor, sell the news. I would actually say, before we even get into the chart, the Starbucks has been under a ton of negative attention and negative price action and problems. In particular, since we've seen really high inflation over the last couple of years, almost 50% of all of their customers, when surveyed, not quite 50, but almost 50%, said that the price of the coffee was just getting too expensive. And another big chunk of their customers complained that they had actually waited over 15 minutes to get a cup of Joe. Guys, you understand that coffee is something that you normally get on your way to do something or to get that boost to get something done. Or if you're just trying to enjoy a little time with the family and you get that peppermint mocha, it's meant to give a little cheer. Are these guys missing it at every mark? Have they become too expensive? Does it take too long to get the cup? And then does the cup lack any Christmas cheer? Do they think they could just pass off a red cup and that's enough? I think these guys don't know what to do. But we saw some serious decline in the stock in 2024. In particular, in 2024, the store saw negative 7% growth or shrinkage, right? Not a good sign. Not a company that's been growing in a market that's been relatively hot, where the consumer was staying relatively strong. Now, we know that when you get into potentially a recessionary environment, Starbucks often has seen a downturn, and then typically you'll see companies like Dunkin' Donuts do a little bit better because it's perceived people are still going to have their coffee. They're just going to want to save a couple dollars on the cup. But I'm going to take you into the charts. We're also going to examine what if you just didn't even buy the coffee? It's the age-old idea of what if you shifted from being the consumer, right, to the investor. We're going to take a look at what it would look like if you actually invested in Starbucks in 2025 rather than consumed Starbucks in 2025. This is going to be a fun show. It's going to be interesting stock to analyze from the perspective of the charts, because I don't think it's going to be as easy as Trump giving it the Nero thumbs down and the company fades away. No, this company is actually an American staple, regardless of how you might feel about it. It's a bedrock to our culture and way of life, and we've spread throughout the globe. Starbucks in every country that I've traveled to, they're everywhere. You can't get away from them. Even in media, you know, there was that cartoon years back where everybody runs from one side of the road in a Starbucks. They run across the street into a Starbucks on the other side of the street, right? The fact is they're everywhere and they're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. All right. So, but the stock price is currently down still because of the fact that it's been under pressure, getting closer to Christmas. They're coming under the pressure of what are they going to do with their red Starbucks cup. It's been an ongoing controversy. This isn't the first year, but the fact is they always bounce back and people keep buying it, but the stock is down still negative 30%. It had been down nearly 50%. It actually went down 46% from all-time highs. And so this is an interesting company, a quality company, a well-run company with a very strong brand that has recently been down nearly 50% and is coming up. Now, I'm going to give you guys a fresh target. We're going to look at what the charts are saying because it doesn't matter what we think. And believe it or not, it doesn't even matter what the president, who has a pretty loud voice and a pretty big platform, right, to impact a company based on his opinion. He absolutely can influence consumers. But at the end of the day, the chart will guide the way. And I think you guys are going to find it interesting what I see in the chart. I think there's some tradable action to follow in the price action of the chart. And we're going to take you there in just a minute. This is the Stocks with Josh show. I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. We had a beautiful time in the Stocks with Josh trading community. It's called the Chart Goat University on Discord. We had a beautiful time this morning. I did an open live trading session where we were able to pick up a 110% profitable trade on SPY calls going to the upside. It was a very volatile and choppy day, but we played it by the book, followed all of the disciplines, and we're able to pull out a 100% win. Lots of people in there making hundreds of dollars and some pretty seasoned guys in there making thousands of dollars. But we come together as a community. It makes us stronger. Don't trade alone in 2025. Come check us out. It's an educational platform. I'm teaching charting over there, but it's not just me. It's me and my crown traders, which means that typically 5 days a week, you can get on and watch somebody who's got a little bit of experience actively trade these markets, right? Tons of trade alerts in there. And on that point, I gave a trade alert on OKLO, OKLO. I gave this on 12/18 when the price was $20.10. And I said, I like it. I like it here. But if this dips, I like it even more. On that day, it dipped a little bit. If you had bought from the moment I gave the Discord alert and bought at any time that day, this thing has popped right around 30% in 5 days. Now, this isn't an option trade. This is stock. And I try to feed the community, both the active scalping day trading community in my Discord, but I also try to take care of the guys who are just looking to swing trade stock that don't know how to do the options yet. This was a beautiful play, popped up 30%, an absolute winner, and the move isn't over. Now it's up against resistance and slowing down a little bit because a 30% move in 5 days is very, very impressive. But I'm going to just share with you guys that if this thing can close above $26.40, then it's going to rip higher. Where's it going to rip to? $32. That would be an absolutely massive continuation gain. So right now you want to be a little bit on alert because there is resistance at $26.40. But if we close above it, this thing's going to continue to run. It's a strong stock right now. It's one of the alerts that I've given in the last week. And as I've been saying, really, ever since we got into the month of November, I said, guys, take the trade. Don't be afraid. Scared money, don't make money, take the trade. And on OKLO, it was a huge winner. I'm going to briefly touch on Bitcoin at the tail end of this video. as just so that I can give you guys an update, because we're still dead center, perhaps to the eye of the needle of the storm in Bitcoin right now. This month has been really not as volatile as previous months, but I'm just going to briefly take a look at the charts with Bitcoin with you guys at the end of this video. Let's talk a little bit before I get into the Starbucks chart. I want to talk a little bit about the fundamentals. So this company was under what I knew for the last couple of years as very poor management. I saw it in their marketing and their messaging. You can always tell when a company is losing direction when they get, I would say, sometimes these radical CEOs that are focused abstractly on their branding when they should always be focused on, and don't let it offend you, they should always be focused on the money. They should always be focused on delivering shareholder value and customer experience and customer value, right? That's their job. It's to make a superior product that is as the best cup of coffee in the world. It reminds me of the Elf movie when Elf is in New York City and he walks by a diner and he sees them say best coffee in New York City or in the world. And he goes running in and says, congratulations, congratulations, you've done it. Well, that's a silly scene, but it's an important point. Starbucks needs to be the best, right? They don't need to be moral leaders or posturing any form of morality. They need to be best at what they're doing, right? Okay, so the old CEO, he moved on and they got a new CEO this last September. And I believe that he's coming in to get focused back on business. And I think that Starbucks is a very good brand, right? And I believe ultimately that they are going to thrive in the years to come. So before I take you into the chart, let's just talk a little bit about what it would look like to be a consumer versus being an investor. So right here, it shows you that you got person A and person B. Person A buys Starbucks coffee every day. They spend $4 a day. For me to get a large mocha, it's like $5.30, depending on where I'm at. This turns into $80 a month. Okay, that's person A. And that's close to $1,000 a year spent on old Joe Booster, get you up and moving and working harder. And over the course of 20 years, you're dropping nearly 20K in Starbucks coffee. I feel like my number has got to be closer to 40K personally. I think this is a very conservative person A. Either that or I'm spending way too much on Starbucks. The result is that you ultimately lose $20,000 over the course of 20 years. Hopefully, you made up for this $20,000 loss with the boost of caffeine energy that you needed to get your job done and earn some money somewhere else, because it wasn't going to come from any residual value from person A's coffee consumption. But then you've got person B, right? They invest $4 a day. And that turns into $80 a month, which turns into roughly $1,000 a year, which turns into roughly $20,000 over 20 years. And Starbucks has yielded a return on investment of around 19% on average over the last 20 years, which would have given them a result. This is crazy. $161,000 over a 20-year period. And they actually gives a monthly dividend of $229. Now, here's the fascinating point. If you actually had this long-term vision of investing, this $220 monthly dividend would actually give you enough money to cover your lunch, and it would actually pay for your coffee consumption, because monthly coffee consumption is $80 a month. Future dividends is $229. You would be able to cover your lunch and all your coffee for the rest of your life if you actually shifted your mentality from consumer to investor, right? I just thought that was awesome to be able to see the difference of how money can compound and grow. Albert Einstein said that compounding interest was one of the wonders of the world. Of course, I'm getting the quote wrong, but you guys get the idea. When you begin to study it and recognize how your money can begin to work for you on Wall Street, you got to understand that. Let me just slow down and talk to you guys about that for a moment. When you're working at your job, you're getting paid tit for tat, the labor, the skill, and the effort that you're putting in. You're trading your time for money, right? And then eventually you get tired. You got to go home. You got to wrap it up. You can only do so much in a day. And of course, they stop paying you. But if you take some of that money that you traded your time for and you put it into Wall Street, Starbucks as a corporation, even with, we'll call it the Donald Trump headwind, is working with its new CEO globally 24 hours a day. They're pushing some coffee. They're pushing a cup of Joe, right? Trying to get better and better and better at it so that one day they'd be the best cup of coffee in the world. But your money is always working on Wall Street. Now, that gets us to the point where we're going to go look at the chart and ask ourselves the question, is this a stock that is moving up or down right now? I got to tell you, for the stock to be doing as well as it's doing here, I'm going to show that to you in a minute. And it's got everybody, including the president, saying that maybe we should all boycott them. I think it's actually showing some decent strength. So let's go check out the chart. Let's see what it's saying right now. These are daily candles. And we had a very interesting pattern play out here from the month of April and May all the way to the month of August. So this was a pretty dark period for Starbucks stock at a time when big tech was booming. Starbucks was really falling apart, but it had a classic pattern called a W pattern, right? This is actually a very, very bullish pattern. And it led to this recovery in value, right? But still, we're off from our all-time highs. We got 46% down from these highs back here. And we finally got a W pattern. When you see a W pattern in the charts, it's basically a confirmed double bottom. Okay, so it's a confirmed double bottom. Anytime you get a double bottom where the price goes down and bounces off of the same area, in truth, this was a triple bottom because we actually got a bounce there too. We got 3 tests, but this was largely a W pattern. It was a double bottom, a very strong level of support at around $72, and it's really rocketed up from there, right? But we got very close back to this more premium price zone, and we got a pretty strong sell-off. Now, the question that I'm going to pose to you guys is Starbucks going to suffer a tough 2025? Yeah, I'm not going to venture to guess that far out. I just took some time to look at the charts with you guys as you consider being a consumer versus an investor. And I have a local price target of $94. And you can see if you go back in time that this is a price point of great significance. It had been support, support, support before eventually it turned resistance. And I believe that we have to come back to $94 and test it again. And if we get rejected there, then I think that I would be on high alert. At the moment, if you go and look at the MACD and some of the other dynamics, at the moment, this is a stock that despite all the negative attention here during the holiday season, the stock price is actually doing pretty darn good. And I see it testing $94. And if it gets above $94, we could actually move all the way back up closer to the $100 range. And so I would say don't begin to short this too soon, despite the negative attention that it's getting, because a lot of that negativity might have already been priced in before it even got to the holiday. And right now we're seeing a little bit of recovery. Now, if you are going to be bearish and you want to load up because you believe that 2025 is going to be a rough year for Starbucks, I'm going to tell you that magical number is a break back beneath $89, and I believe that it wouldn't take it long for it to get back to $82, and then I would be a long-term buyer, an investor back in Starbucks. If the coffee beans hit the fan, I would be a long-term investor in Starbucks again at $70. But I do like it for a little play higher to 94. But I like it again for puts lower under 89. That's your detailed analysis of Starbucks. Like I said, they've got a new CEO, and I think that the earnings on Starbucks in the next couple quarters are going to be increased volatility, and I think you're going to see a lot of people giving this stock some attention. because, as I said, it's a staple brand in the United States that isn't going anywhere. And the fact that they get so much attention and sometimes negative attention for their coffee cups just shows how much part of this country they are. And Donald Trump, he's drawn a lot of negative attention. And I remember years ago him saying that all attention, whether negative or positive, was good attention depending on what you did with it. And I think the same thing regarding Starbucks right now. I think that the fact is they're back in the media, back in the news. And with new leadership that they've got here this last September, I think that it's a big ship and he can steer it towards success. This is one I'm going to be watching when it gets back to $94 to see if we get rejection or whether we actually get above 94, because that paves the way to 100. So keep this one on your watch list and let me know whether you are a Starbucks lover, whether you're a Dunkin' Donuts kind of a guy, gal, whether you are going long on Starbucks or shorting it here. I'd love to hear from you. Let's touch on Bitcoin. And I want you guys to know, even before I take you into the Bitcoin chart, that I've been spending some time on the XRP chart. I see a lot of people talking about XRP, but I intend to deliver what I believe to be strong technicals on XRP really soon. So if you're part of the XRP army, don't miss my coming XRP video. I'm going to be making predictions. I've got the charts are actually pretty interesting on XRP. They definitely tell a story of future price action that I think is going to play out. Man, XRP's chart's consistent. And believe it or not, it's doing what it's done in the past. And so I think it can tell us what the opportunity is ahead. And of course, I'll always be a little different than others because some people, they just go nuts and they give crazy predictions. I believe that my predictions will come to pass. But of course, we'll have to check it out when I get that video done. Let's go take a look at the Bitcoin chart. And again, don't sleep on the Stocks with Josh Discord because you don't even need to trade too much, right? Some of you are over trading, right? But if you get couple good plays, which I've dropped some beautiful plays here in recent days. OXLO is one of them. PRZO is another, which is doing very well. But if you get a couple really good plays, I'm telling you, that can really make your portfolio pop. And we've been enjoying that. And then if you want to kind of learn to trade, learn to get into Wall Street every morning and make some money through scalping and option trading, I'm doing that. And so is my Crown Traders. You don't want to miss it. You can just come and grow. You don't have to jump in with your whole portfolio from day one. Just come and watch. There's plenty of people in there who are just auditing these live trading sessions to see if it's something that they could do. And you could even paper trade them. All right, let's go take a look at the Bitcoin chart. And let's see what it's telling me today. So we talked about this. We saw a nice little pop the other day, but I warned about the fact that we have this evening star that is haunting the Bitcoin chart, right? And we've never gotten, these are monthly candles, in the history of Bitcoin, after we broke above the previous market cycle high, and we had an explosive move higher. Never in the history of Bitcoin have we gotten a red follow-up candle. Never. This would be the very first one if this closes. And obviously, we just have a couple days left to the month so that this candle is going to close up pretty soon. And it's red. It's red. Now, what is characteristic for Bitcoin at this point in time is volatility. And believe it or not, as much as you might be thinking this has been a roller coaster, the fact is this particular December month, even though it's red and not green, which is uncharacteristic, it's also been uncharacteristic in the fact that it's not had as high of a price swing as previous months. Believe it or not, we've had 40 and 50% price swings in previous months. And if we go and measure the price swing of Bitcoin up, it's only gone up 11.5% from the previous month, and it's only gone down roughly 5.75%. And so this has actually been a pretty calm December month. Now, if it closes red, this is going to become an evening star. Evening stars are very bearish. They point to a downturn. We've gotten evening stars on Bitcoin in the past. They didn't end well. And as long as this closes red, we've got to be concerned about seeing a follow-up January month that could potentially backtrace. And I'm going to tell you that the target that it has to stay above is 85,000. You say, why, Josh? Why does it have to stay above? Well, you don't want to see this green candle retrace more than 50%. I've talked with you guys about that in the past. It cancels the bullish move higher. Trust me, what I'm sharing with you, all of the big investment firms know. Their line in the sand is 85K, which means that if January's candle were to close beneath 85K, then you're going to see some panic selling. And as I mentioned in a recent video, we're actually still in the greed phase. Now, you might be saying, Josh, my portfolio is down 50%. My altcoins got slaughtered. I didn't have good pricing to begin with. I bought the top. Believe it or not, we're still in the greed phase of crypto. We're not even in the fear phase. And so I'm not trying to freak you guys out, but I do want to draw attention to what's going on with the charts. In the big picture view, if you wanted to close your eyes and ignore this and diamond hand it, I do believe that between now and the summer of 2025, I do believe that we will have another major explosive move, that where we will retest all-time highs and where I could see us going up as high as 116,000. And so if you wanted to, blindfold yourself and ignore these charts and wait for that moment in time, it's very possible we get there. Okay. I wouldn't suggest taking that approach. I think that you've got to be a shrewd investor, which means that you've got to analyze the bullish and bearish case. And until we begin to get some bullish signs on the chart, okay, right now we need a green monthly candle, right? To be consistent with previous moments like this, we need a green monthly candle. But until we begin to make some price advancement, we've got to go on high alert, because getting out of positions enables you, when we're in true fear, to get back in at a lower price. It's just that simple. Now, I'm not recommending you sell everything, but myself, I've made announcements of taking profits. I made announcements of taking profits when we initially got over 100,000K on Bitcoin. When we initially got over 100,000K sometime back, I said, guys, I'm locking in a certain percentage of my wealth because I had bought this when it was below 20K, right? I've been buying crypto in the winter. I called the bottom successfully. And so there has to be phases of buying and phases of selling. I'm working my plan that I've been in. Really, it didn't start today, and it didn't start last week, and it didn't start in the last 6 months. But for some people, it started in the last 30 days. It started at Thanksgiving when their niece and nephew came by and said, I've been killing it in crypto. For me, this thing started years ago, and I'm working my knowledge to profit, right? I invite you guys to hit that like and subscribe to get the technicals, to get the alerts. Come join the Discord and participate with me and my crown traders. Get a deeper understanding of the crypto cycles. Right now, we're losing steam. January should be more volatile, and Bitcoin has to hold 85K, or you're going to see institutions, not Josh. You're going to see institutions start cutting some positions. All right, so that's the situation that we're in. I'm going to be actively trading crypto in the days ahead, both to the upside and to the downside. If you say, well, I didn't know you could make money when crypto goes down. Absolutely. It's going to be very profitable when we begin to descend into the winter months. It's going to be very, very profitable to short all of these altcoins and the entire space, because most of it's going to go down 90 to 98%. Shiba Inu from the last all-time high and Dogecoin went back between 90 and 98%, right? So there's a lot of opportunity to short these as they move down. I'm not calling that right now. We're nowhere near the winter. We're still in the bull cycle, right? We're still going to get, I believe, another pump. But this video is meant to give you some perspective. Thank you guys for joining me today. Hope you have a wonderful Christmas week, wrapping up this 2025, preparing and thinking about how and what to do. We're wrapping up 2024, preparing and thinking about what to do in 2025, right? What is possible? What can be achieved, right? Come and join me. We're going to do it as a community. We're always growing and moving stronger and getting wealthier while doing it. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.